Welcome to Galaxy TV. Here we uncover the secrets of our heritage, one story at a time. This is not just entertainment, this is the heartbeat of our people. Join us as we journey into the soul of Africa through tales, stories that ignite the imagination and speak to the heart. Subscribe, drop your opinions in the comments section, like the videos, don't forget to turn on your notification bells, and let the stories begin. It was a bright Sunday morning in Lagos. The sun rose slowly, painting the sky with shades of orange and gold. I dressed in my best outfit, a crisp white shirt and blue trousers, ready to attend church like I did every Sunday. The church was a lively place, filled with songs, clapping, and shouts of hallelujah. It always felt like a second home to me, a place where I could escape the chaos of the city and find peace. This particular Sunday, I arrived at church early. The choir was already rehearsing, their harmonies filling the air with a sweet melody. The pastor, a man known for his fiery sermons, greeted me with a warm smile and a firm handshake. The service began as usual. We sang, prayed, and listened to testimonies. Everything seemed perfect until the pastor announced that a special guest would be sharing a powerful message with us. The guest was a young man named David, who claimed he had once been deeply involved in witchcraft but had found salvation through Christ. His story gripped the congregation from the start. He spoke of secret meetings in forests, mysterious rituals, and a pact he had made with dark forces. But then he pulled out a small flash drive, holding it up for everyone to see. "What I'm about to show you," he said, his voice trembling, "will open your eyes to the truth about the spiritual battle we are all fighting." The ushers dimmed the lights, and a projector came to life. On the screen, grainy footage appeared. It showed a dimly lit room where a group of men and women dressed in strange garments were chanting. At first I thought it was just an old Nollywood movie, but then I noticed something chilling. The faces of some of the people in the video were familiar. One of them was a deacon in our church. Another was the choir mistress who had just led us in worship. And there, standing at the center of it all, was our pastor. Gasps filled the room. People started murmuring, some even shouting. But David raised his hand to quiet the crowd. "This video," he said, "was taken during a midnight ritual where these people were invoking spirits for power and wealth. Your pastor is not who you think he is." I couldn't believe my eyes. The man I had trusted, the man who had baptized me, was in the video, performing acts I couldn't describe. My chest tightened and my head spun. The pastor sprang to his feet, his face a mask of fury. "This is a lie!" he shouted. "An attack from the devil to destroy the church." But David remained calm. "If it's a lie," he said, "why don't you explain what you're doing in this video?" Chaos erupted. Some people stormed out while others demanded answers. The pastor tried to calm everyone, but his words sounded hollow. My heart raced as I realized I didn't know who or what to believe anymore. That night, I couldn't sleep. The video replayed in my mind over and over. The faces, the chanting, the eerie atmosphere, it was too much. The next morning, I decided to confront the truth. I spoke to an elder who confirmed that there had always been whispers about the pastor's activities, but no one dared to speak out. I never went back to that church. How could I, knowing what I had seen? The experience shook my faith to its core. I still believe in God, but now I'm cautious. Sometimes I wonder if it was all a misunderstanding, but deep down, I know what I saw. That video changed everything, and that's why I'll never go to church again. Days turned into weeks, but the events of that Sunday refused to leave my mind. The church became a ghost town almost overnight. Many members stopped attending, unsure of who to trust or what to believe. The pastor, once revered, vanished without a trace. Some said he left Lagos entirely, while others whispered that he had gone deeper into the occult. One evening I received a call from my childhood friend, Kunle, who had also been a member of the church. "Deji," he said, his voice heavy with concern, "you need to come to my house. There's something you should see." Curiosity got the better of me, and I agreed. When I arrived, Kunle was sitting on his balcony with his laptop open. "I've been doing some digging," he said, gesturing for me to sit. He played another video, one he claimed to have found on a hidden forum online. It showed a similar ritual, but this time it wasn't just our pastor. It featured leaders from several well-known churches across Nigeria. The footage was clearer, and their faces unmistakable. Kunle leaned back, his expression grim. "This isn't just about our church, Deji. It's bigger than we thought. There are so many of them." I felt a chill run down my spine. So what do we do? Expose them? Tell people? Kunle shook his head. Who would believe us? People are loyal to their pastors. They'll call it lies, propaganda, or even say we're the ones being used by the devil. He was right. I had seen how people reacted that Sunday. They either denied the truth outright or walked away in silence, unable to process it. But then Kunle said something that stuck with me. What if this is a test, Deji? What if God is trying to show us that the real church isn't a building or a man in a suit, but something deeper? His words planted a seed in my heart. For the first time, I started to see faith differently. I began studying the Bible on my own, searching for answers. I read about false prophets and wolves in sheep's clothing. Everything started to make sense. One day, I decided to visit a small fellowship group Kunle had joined. They met in someone's living room with no microphones, flashy lights, or loud sermons. It was simple, just people praying, singing, and sharing their struggles. It felt real. As weeks passed, I found myself healing. The betrayal still hurt, but I realized my faith wasn't tied to any one person or place. I didn't need a massive church or a charismatic pastor to connect with God, but the story didn't end there. Months later, rumors spread that the pastor had been sighted in Abuja, leading another church under a different name. Some people even claimed he had become more powerful than before, attracting politicians and celebrities. Kunle and I debated whether to expose him again, but this time, we decided against it. The truth always comes out eventually, Kunle said, and those who refuse to see it will remain blind. I still miss the days when church felt like home, when I believed everyone there was genuinely seeking God. But life has taught me to be cautious, to question, and to trust my instincts. Now, every time I see a flashy church billboard or hear about a miracle crusade, I remember that Sunday. I remember the video, the faces, and the lies. And I remind myself that faith isn't about appearances. It's about truth. I'll probably never step foot in a traditional church again. But that's okay. I've found a new way to worship, one that feels honest and pure. And for me, that's enough. 2 years passed, and life began to feel normal again. I was content with my small fellowship group and my newfound relationship with God. I didn't miss the grand services or the flashy sermons. But just as I thought I had moved on, something happened that shook me to my core. One evening, as I was walking home from work, I saw a large poster plastered on a wall near my street. The face on it stopped me dead in my tracks. It was him, the pastor. He was advertising a grand revival event happening at a massive venue in Lagos. The poster boasted of miracles, healing, and prophetic declarations. I felt a surge of anger. How could he return so boldly, as if nothing had happened? As I stood there staring at the poster, a man beside me chuckled. "You know him too?" he asked. I turned to him, unsure of what to say. The man shook his head. "This pastor has been moving from city to city. Everywhere he goes, there's chaos. People keep exposing him, but somehow he always comes back stronger. It's like he has something protecting him." I didn't respond, but the man's words stayed with me. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about the countless people who would attend his revival, desperate for miracles, only to be deceived. The next day, I called Kunle. "We have to do something," I said. Kunle sighed. "Deji, we've been through this. People don't want the truth. They want miracles, no matter the cost." But I couldn't let it go. Against Kunle's advice, I decided to attend the revival. Not because I believed in the pastor, but because I wanted to see for myself what he was doing now. The event was held in a massive arena, filled with thousands of people. The atmosphere was electric, with loud music, flashing lights, and dramatic testimonies. It was a spectacle. When the pastor walked onto the stage, the crowd erupted in cheers. He wore a white suit that sparkled under the lights, and his voice boomed as he spoke. "Tonight," he declared, "chains will be broken, miracles will flow, the power of God is here." But as I watched him, I noticed something strange. His movements were exaggerated, almost theatrical. His words felt rehearsed, lacking genuine emotion. And then, during the miracle session, a woman in a wheelchair was brought to the stage. The pastor prayed over her loudly, commanding her to stand. Slowly, she rose from the wheelchair, and the crowd went wild. But I noticed her movements were stiff, almost robotic. Something didn't feel right. After the service, I lingered near the exit, observing the people leaving. Many looked joyful, convinced they had witnessed the power of God. But a few looked confused, even skeptical. I approached one of them, a young man holding crutches. Did you get healed? I asked gently. He shook his head. No, the pastor said my faith wasn't strong enough, but I don't understand. I've been praying for years. His words broke my heart. It was clear that the pastor's show was giving false hope to the vulnerable. As I walked home that night, I realized exposing the pastor wouldn't solve the problem. The real issue was deeper. People's desperation for quick fixes and their blind loyalty to anyone claiming to have divine power. From that day, I made it my mission to help others see the truth. I started a small blog where I shared my experiences and encouraged people to focus on their personal relationship with God instead of chasing miracles. It wasn't easy. Some people mocked me, calling me a heretic, but others thanked me, saying my words helped them see things differently. The pastor continued his crusades, but I no longer felt anger or bitterness. Instead, I prayed for him, hoping that one day he would truly repent and find his way back to God. As for me, I've learned that faith isn't about following a man or attending a grand church. It's about seeking the truth, even when it's uncomfortable. And though I'll never step into a church like that again, I found peace in knowing that my faith is built on something real.